All right. Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. You guys won't watch this until Tuesday, but happy Tuesday and Monday. Today is the day of the solar eclipse down there in Texas, and it may have scratched Tucson and Florida. I hope you all got to see it. Sounds like it was really cool. I did not get to see it here in Idaho. It's cold. It snowed just last night, and I was wishing I was somewhere warm. I love doing these podcasts. I love getting a chance to connect with each of you guys. I get a few of you that text me about it every week, and that always makes my day. So if you have any thoughts from the podcast, if you have any questions, if you have anything you want more insights on, please text me or shoot me a pronto message or shoot me an Instagram message or anything. But I would love any and all feedback, and I'd love to help more if there's a way that I can help you more individually or for your team. So first of all, last week when we did this podcast, we had done like $725,000 in revenue. And I said that I hoped that this week we could do $800,000 in revenue. You guys blew me away. You blew it out of the water. And we did over $900,000 in service revenue last week. Every week we just keep getting better and better, and it gets me really excited. We also officially have like 200 sales reps that have knocked a door for us between blitzes and this summer. So that's a crazy stat. The fact that we have 200 people wanting to do more, wanting to do extra, getting out in early April or before is incredible. I love a lot of things about this group, but I think the thing that I love the most is how hard all of us are willing to work. And we've talked about this in every podcast, but that's one of our flags. That's one of our banners. That's one of the elite characteristics or attributes that I want just tattooed on your chest, tattooed on your forehead. We work the hardest. We're willing to do the most. We're willing to go the biggest. We're willing to go the extra mile. We hopefully we're the most talented. That one's hard to prove, but factually we can prove this one. We are willing to work the hardest. We're willing to knock the most days. We're willing to knock the most hours. We want it the most. That's how I've always been. That's how all of our leaders are. And I love that the rookies are really embodying that trait as well. So congratulations on 900K. I get scared of this number because we jump up a comma, we jump up a digit, but I would love to see $1 million in service revenue coming from this week. If we can do $1 million in revenue, that's already like on par with our very best weeks from last summer. So the fact that we're there and it's not even mid-April is huge. Huge. And I believe it's possible. We'll have more people showing up. We'll have more people knocking more hours. The days are getting a little bit longer. The sales are starting to come easier. People are starting to figure it out. Rollovers are starting to pop up more and more. Good things are coming. So $1 million in revenue this week is the goal. Before we jump into stats, I have a couple items of business. I have a call every Monday at 11 Idaho time, and it's with all the partners and the presidents of sales and other corporate staff. And they just go through bullet points and they give shout outs, and it's kind of similar to this podcast, but in Zoom call format. Today we had Nathan Wilcox, who is the chief legal officer for Aptive, hop on the call, and he wanted me to remind everyone, so please listen, dial up your ears. He wanted me to remind everyone, you are constantly being recorded. Okay, when you knock on customers' doors, you are most likely, almost certainly, being recorded. Whether it's from their own house through a doorbell camera or one of those cameras up above the garage or a neighbor's house, something that you do or everything that you do will be recorded. So I've had sales reps, I don't even want to give ideas. I've had sales reps do some of the dumbest stuff over the years, from urinating because they had to urinate on customers' driveways or porches or behind their trees. I had a kid last year go into a backyard and go pee. Like, sales reps do dumb stuff all the time. Don't do that. Don't mess with their no soliciting signs. Don't interact negatively with the customer. Don't curse them out. There was a video of an Aptive sales rep a few years ago where the guy knocked on the door, the customer said no, and as the sales rep was walking away, he basically cursed at the customer and said, "What an effing B word." And the video went super viral, and it's a bad look for the company. Everything that we do is under a microscope. So that's reminder number one. I'm asking you guys to always act in a professional manner, and remember that you're always being recorded. If you're going to lose your cool, just leave. You're not going to sell that person. It's not worth your time. If someone is being contentious, just leave. You're not going to sell that person. It's not worth your time. If you need to go to the bathroom, find a bathroom, or go to your car and find a bottle, worst case scenario. But be a professional, okay? Especially in the elite group, that's something that's really, really important to me. Be a professional. I'm probably going to have to remind everybody of this several times throughout the summer, but I don't want any mishaps coming from this group. Every year there are sales reps who get terminated or fired because they do something stupid. They fight with a customer, or they get caught lying on camera. Like, don't do those things. Just be a good person. Be a good representative of Aptive. Item of business number 2, and this one is a little more near and dear to each of our sales reps' hearts. So Throwdown Thursdays. I'm not saying don't do them. I love the competition. I love the energy, but be considerate and be professional with those as well. Nate let us all know that there are a few companies, fortunately not Aptive, but there are a few companies right now where lawsuit type things are happening. And inquiry type things are happening because these Throwdown Thursdays have gotten too out of hand and too aggressive, too extreme. So a few words that he used. He said, do not do anything that would be humiliating, degrading, embarrassing, or physical to the reps. So no like hazing type activities, no spanking, no punching, no humiliating activities. Anything that would be humiliating, degrading, embarrassing, or physical to the loser of the competition. You do not have to do Throwdown Thursdays. Throwdown Thursdays is a relatively new thing. I think it's cool. I think it's fun, as long as it's in good spirit, as long as it's healthy. I never personally did a Throwdown Thursday. Those didn't exist when I sold. I think they're cool. I think they're fun, as long as both parties are in good spirits about it. But it should not be humiliating, degrading, embarrassing, or physical to either the other sales rep or for the company. So remember that everything you do is recorded, and you are a representative of a billion-dollar company, and that's a really serious matter. Text messaging and group chats. So I love this job because of the relationships. We all become like family, like best friends. We let it all hang out, and it's fun, okay? I personally love that part of it as much as the next guy. I have done some very funny things over the years in group chats, in trips, in all these things. But in anything that is documented, you have to just be careful. So be careful with your language and text messages. Be careful with your jokes that you make. You should never make jokes, just in general. You should never make jokes that are racist or sexist or anything like that could be offensive. You especially should not make those jokes in team group chats or text messages, just ever. It's a good rule of thumb when you work here. It's a good rule of thumb for the rest of your life. You also should just be considerate of other viewpoints and things like that. So I think I'm old now. I'm 32. I'm at this point in my life where like the frontal cortex of my brain is really developed, and I'm very aversive to risk. A lot of the people that we hire for this job, a lot of you watching this podcast are young. You're 18, you're 19, you're 20, and risks don't seem quite as serious. Guys, it's serious. Like, be careful with these things. I've had friends lose jobs here at Aptive and in the corporate world because of jokes, because of dumb humor, because of inappropriate situations with a coworker. Like, you have to be careful. You have to be considerate. So take that as a life lesson. Life lessons with Grandpa Yog, with Father Yog. Take it serious. Be considerate. And especially in the elite group, another one of our flags. One is hard work. Another one is that we're kind, we're considerate, we're communicative, we're appreciative of everything that corporate does. And part of that is professional. Like, we treat this like a job because it is a job, and it is an opportunity that we relish, that we take serious, that we love, that we appreciate. Okay, on that note, I am going to dive into some stat sharing. Okay, so first I will share the partnerships, and this is kind of for Mitch too. First I'll share partnerships, then I'll do rookies, then I'll do experienced reps, then I'll do teams. So we have a new one this week, teams. Elite, we had 172 reps with the service last week. Alpha was the closest to that with 96. So I've said this every week. I'll continue saying it. We're not doing extra anymore. Now it's time to just go big. Now it's time to go huge. But you can see we did a much better job doing extra. We have almost 80 additional reps out knocking still. That's awesome. We did $900,173. Every single account matters. Without one single account, we wouldn't have hit $900,000. So congratulations, everybody, on that. I'm supremely proud of the fact that we hit that. Huge, amazing. Our contract value is slowly going up. We're at 962 this week. That's awesome. We are still the second lowest, but we're much closer to everybody else. I think as we continue to prioritize ACV this week, we'll see ourselves jumping up to 975, 980, hopefully $1,000 within the next couple weeks. We reiterate this every week. I'll reiterate it again. Do not sell basics. Push on mosquitoes. If you do those two things, your ACV will shoot the moon and you will see yourself over $1,000. And as we review the top reps, you'll see that most of those top reps in our partnership are over $1,000. So thank you guys for setting the bar. If you're below 962, you're below average. And we're going to keep pumping that up. I want to see it over $1,000 this summer. Our sales to service ratio is slowly getting better. We're at 84%. That's awesome. Okay, it's not where we need to be. We want to get up closer to 90%. And a big part of that is same days. We had 33.4% same days. That said, 84% is really good. That's something to be proud of. I remember a few years ago, before we recruited our own service pros, before we had same days, it was not uncommon to be in the 70%. 75 to 80% was really average. So the fact that we're at 84% and it's not even mid-April is impressive. Gets me excited. If you're below 84%, we need to bump that up. And as a group, we need to be looking at 90%. A big part of that will come from recruiting our own service pros. 33.4% is good. We need to get it up to 50% and beyond. RPR, 5,233. Above 5,000 is really good for this time of year, especially with how many rookies we have. We only have 56% of our sales reps right now are rookies. So congratulations to each of you for averaging 5,000 a week. That's good. That's like one a day. We can get much better. We need to get it up to 6, 7, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. And that'll come with experience. That'll come as we continue to push, as we continue to give effort, as we improve at the job. Last knock, 820. We continue to be the latest there. I really want to see it beyond 830, especially with the days getting longer and longer. If you're uncomfortable knocking that late, push yourself to do it. It's the best time to sell. If I could only knock 1 hour a day, it would be from 8 to 9. If I could knock 2 hours a day, it would be from 7:30 to 9:30. So that is the best time to get sales. And if you're stopping at 8:20, you're costing yourself money. Ryan talked about this last week. He gave some examples. Message him on Instagram, text him, pronto him, get some advice on it. The best time of day to sell is after 8:20. So please push that. Please give a little bit more. If we can get that up to 8:30, 8:45, that right there will get us across the $1 million this week. Just that little effort itself will make that much difference, especially if we can improve our service to sales ratio by a couple percentage points. DMs per rep. So this is one where we have held the crown all year so far, and we were past this week. Prime had 49.5. We had 43.4. So they're beating us by 6 decision makers per rep every day. Yeah! Take that personal, okay? Prime always says, they're like, Elite says they work the hardest. We actually work the hardest. And unfortunately, that proved true this last week. So I really want to take that crown back. I need everyone who watches this. Hold yourself accountable. Hold your team accountable. Get out there, knock 2 more decision makers in the morning, 2 more decision makers before lunch, 2 more decision makers after lunch, and 5 more decision makers at the end of the day. If you do that, your sales will shoot up. That's like 15 extra decision makers a day. For most of you, that's an extra 3 or 4 sales on the week. It's worth it. Okay, the inches we need, they're everywhere. That's several inches. That, in fact, is probably a foot or 2. I would love to reclaim that throne from Prime. We need it. 24-month agreements, 46%. Remember that you get fat bonuses on 24-month agreements. 18-month agreements still count towards your multi-year requirement, but 24-month agreements is what we want our bread and butter to be. I would love to see that up over 50%. Remember, you get $20 in extra upfront money just right away for selling a 24-month agreement, and then you'll get $10 per service on the second year. So for a pro or a premium, that's $60 or $80 on year 2 that you get paid on that account. It is worth it to sell 2-year agreements. Our average initial at 76. We are actually the 3rd highest there, which is good. Some room for improvement. If you start higher, you will end higher. So start $10, $15, $20 higher out this next week, and it'll pay itself off. And then basic, 14.6%. We're the 2nd lowest there. We need to be even lower, though. Below 10% is the goal. I believe Alexandria, you guys will see this in our team stats, but Alexandria only sold like 3% basics last week. They literally had like 2 basic accounts. So pro and basic, there's not that much difference. And if you pitch it the right way, the customer will always lean into pro because it makes the most sense for them. Hey, we're coming out more frequently during the summer when you need it, less frequently during the winter. You get all these extra upgrades, all this extra stuff included. That is what people want. And in fact, just pitch pro. Never even pitch basic. Don't even make it an option. Okay? Basic should be a last-ditch Hail Mary. You know, it's a tough switchover that you've gotten really close on, and you just need one more drop because you didn't start high enough. That's the only time we should use basic. So push pro. Your retention will be better on pro. Your yield or your payments will be higher on pro. The customer will be happier on pro. I'll be happier on pro. You'll be happier on pro. Everyone will be happier. Pitch pro. No premium or very little premium, very little basic. That should be our bread and butter. Going to individual stats, and we'll start with rookies. So we had 4 rookies above 10K this last week. Ethan Holbrook at number 1. Ethan is in Austin. Spencer Richens in Tucson. Nice work, Spencer. Chew your food. Spencer choked at kickoff, and it was bad. N3 Kuth. Jack Rhea, not new there, neither of those guys. I've seen both of them thrown down. Cole Millward, Jordan Rowley, Andy Nguyen. I think that's pronounced Win. How are you, Andy? We're Instagram buddies. Parker Miller, Sam Harmon, Holden Boley, Christian Jacobs. So that's our top 11. Really proud of all these guys. I wanted to challenge our rookies, especially our top rookies. If you consider yourself a top rookie in the Elite Partnership, you need to get over 10K a week. Okay, I really hope that our top 10, top 11 is all above 10K next week going forward. I think that's realistic. I think it's possible. I think we have the caliber of rookie sales reps that's well within reach. So if you're someone who wants to be a top rookie this year, if you're someone who considers yourself a top performer, get above 10K. It's possible. Do a little bit more. Work a little bit harder. Do a little bit extra. It's coming. One of the biggest areas where our rookies can improve, and as I look at these numbers, and I sent this out to your team leads, so hopefully they're sharing it with you as well, but sales to service ratio. When I look at our top vets versus our top rookies, the sales to service ratio is one of the biggest indicators. Like we have rookies, Ethan Holbrook, 78.6%, Spencer Richens, 83%, N3 Kuth, 75%, Jack Rhea, 62%, Cole Millward, 89%. That's good. Like the average is like low 80s. Okay. And there's guys below that. We have Parker Miller with 57.1. Parker, I love you. You can and should do better. I believe in you. Okay. So our top experienced reps, they're spending a little bit more time solidifying the sale. They're being a little bit more transparent. They're priming the customer more. You guys have these people sold. They're giving you their credit card. Make sure that you actually get paid on that account by getting them serviced. The servicing, the payment, all that happens when you clarify, when you set expectations correctly, when you do a good job with the customer, when you build a relationship, when you build friends, when you make sure that they're same day or serviced as soon as humanly possible. All these things will help you get paid. You don't get paid for selling, you get paid for servicing. So rookies, make that a big priority. And if you need help, if you're not above, I think our average was 84%, get help. Like ask for tips. Go through it with your team leader. Ask the people who have a really high service to sales ratio how they explain the agreement. You guys are selling this person. You're getting their credit card. They're signing the contract. You just need to do a little bit more legwork to get it to actually get service. And if you can do that, everybody's numbers jump up. Okay, if I had 10% to all these service CVs because we improved by 10%, all of a sudden Ethan's at almost 12,000, Spencer's at almost 12,000, N3's over 11,000. Parker, you're at like 10,000, which is where I want you to be. Like just prioritize that service to sales ratio. You're selling really well. Contract value, relatively good. You can see a lot of them over 1,000. Last knock, that's the other area that I saw. Our vets, our experienced reps that are selling the most right now are pushing later than our top rookies. So rookies, I want to challenge each of you. Knock a little bit later this week. Do the uncomfortable thing. You will become comfortable once you've been uncomfortable for just a little bit. It only takes a day or two before you're like, oh yeah, it's just what I do. I'm used to it. I'm better at identifying the homes to knock. I'm better at the urgency pitch at the end of the night. And I'm selling a substantial amount of them. Numbers will go up. So congratulations to each of you for making the top rookies this last week. I'm excited to see what you guys do next week. Okay. Top reps for the week for the Elite Partnership. Tanner Clayton coming in at number 1 with almost $27,000 in service revenue. I believe that's Tanner's like 3rd week in a row being our top rep, and he's already over $80K. So congratulations, Tanner. Someone dethrone this guy. He's too good. That's like 3 weeks in a row. Part of Tanner's success, he has a 90.9% sales to service ratio and 60% same days. 1,067 ACV. That right there is enough to show you why Tanner is having as much success as he has. Absolutely incredible. Connor Geisler coming in at 23,934. Connor is one of my good friends. He's probably the best golfer in the partnership. Connor's a stud. He did solar the last 2 years. This is his first year back in pest, and he's already crushing it. Nice work, Connor. Connor actually beat Tanner in sales to service and same days, 91.7 and 65.38. Where he lost was the serviced ACV. So had Connor had Tanner's serviced ACV, $140 more on every single account, that would have added like $3,000 to Connor's service revenue for the week, and they were right there neck and neck. I'm excited to see how that one plays out this week. Chandler McElmurray, Michael Ellis, Colby Markowski, Sayer, 18,500. I know for a fact that Sayer went like 15 for 15 or 14 for 15 the last 2 days of the week, serviced like 14K in 2 days. So sometimes if the week doesn't start out as well as you want, you can make it end that way. You just got to crush it. Congratulations, Sayer. One of our biggest weeks ever. That might be a PR. John Martin, Nathan Hamilton, Derek Beardsley, and Lance Bracken. We have 5 reps over 20K. We have all of our top 10. Well, I guess the bottom 2 are barely under it. But basically our top 10 over 15K. That gets me excited. I would love to see our top 10 over 20K next week. I think that's very realistic. Excited to see which of these guys and girl repeat in being in the top list, and excited to see who of you guys crack it. Sponsored by Red Bull. Okay. Team stats. So I spent like 2 hours yesterday morning building this mega spreadsheet on the week, and I sent it out to your team leads. It highlights like who needs to do better on their sales to DMs, who needs to do better on just overall DMs for the week, whose service to sales ratio needs work, whose contract value needs work. So it's really in depth. If you guys haven't seen that, ask your team lead for it. They'll go through it with you, and you can kind of gauge your performance on some of those key indicators or key metrics that I really want us to focus on. For the team stats, some shout outs. So most rev on the week was our Austin bunch with nearly $200,000 in service revenue. Best RPR on the week, Tucson 2. These are the guys that'll become San Diego. No surprise there. 8,841. Connor Geisler's on that team. Chandler McElmurray's on that team. Colby Markowski's on that team. Cole Millward's on that team. A lot of the guys who I read as top reps, top rookies are on that team. Shout out to those guys for leading the bunch in RPR, which is like service revenue per rep. Our partnership average was just over 5,000. These guys are at nearly 9,000, which is awesome. Highest contract value, Alexandria with a 1,044. That's huge. We also had San Antonio West, which is the McKenna Easton crew, and Fort Lauderdale, which is Tanner Clayton, over $1,000 each. Nice work to each of you. Dallas, I'm going to call out the Chase Flynn squad. Blaine, the Titus crew, Lance, Jordan, bunch of you guys. Listen up. We got to get this contract value up. 841 is no bueno. Get that up. Houston 3, Danny, Tyler, 890. No good. Get it up over 900. Come on. Biggest thing, and when I looked at both of these teams, the basic percentage. Okay, Dallas with 30% basics. There is no excuse for that. Who else had high basics? Houston 1, which is the Aiden Parent, the Sayer, the Tim group with almost 20% basics. There is no excuse for that. Get it down. We sell pros. Come on. Okay, sales to service ratio. Alexandria led there again with a 96.7% sales to service ratio. Absolutely incredible. Danny Webb Crew, I know I just called you guys out, but you had a 91.2% sales to service ratio. That's exceptional. And then Fort Lauderdale, Tanner Clayton's group with a 90.5% sales to service ratio. Also exceptional. San Antonio, the John Martin crew, the Vlad crew, 71.7% on your sales to service ratio. You guys need service pros, and you need to train on sales to service. It is that important. You guys bump that up 15%, you're in the hanging for best team on the week. Your RPR substantially improves. Your service revenue goes up by like $50K. It's that important. Okay, make it a priority. 24-month percentage. 58.2%. Leading the way is Houston 1, which is Aiden Parent, Sayer, Tim, Tommy, all these guys. Nice work on that one. Last daily knock, that same Houston crew, 8:46. Exceptional. Okay, that is late. You've got the whole team knock until almost 9 o'clock. Nice work. Average DMs per rep. Leading the way on this one is Tucson 2. It's that San Diego team. 53.9. Colby's secret to success, the cup winners from last year, is not that they're better sales reps, and he'll tell you that straight up. It's that they outwork everybody, and they're already showing that. 53.9. Our bottom was 36.9. They beat them by almost 20 DMs per day. They're doing like 40% more every single day. That's huge, okay? 53.9. If we could get our whole partnership up to that, we'd be over $1 million already. Every DM you sell is one closer to a sale. Okay? Every DM you knock, is one closer to a sale. These guys are knocking more decision makers than everybody else, and as a result, their prep average is higher than everybody else. Nice work, Tucson. Another shout out there, I'll give Dallas some love. I just called you guys out for basics in your contract value. One thing that I will shout you out for, your average last knock is 827, which is the second latest, and your average DMs is 51, which is the second highest. Both of those are exceptional. Thank you for your hard work. You get that CV up, all of a sudden you're seeing the results a lot more. We had $200 onto your CV. You guys are in the hunt for every single metric that you want to be in. Sell mosquitoes. Don't sell basics. You're working hard. Get the results from your work. It is always easier to get more rev from the same customer than it is to get more rev from a new customer. But congratulations, that is exceptional effort. Average initial, leading the way is Alexandria, Washington, D.C. with 94. Houston 3 with our lowest at 53. Get that up, I believe. And then basics. Alexandria with 3.3%. They had almost no basics, which would be sick. It'd be sick to see a team with 0% 1 week. It might be unrealistic. You might be missing out some sales if you're that low, but we can get below 10%. Another team that deserves a shout out is Fort Lauderdale with 3.9%, and that San Antonio squad with only 8.2%, and Austin 1 with only 10.8%. All those deserve a shout out. So nice work to each of the teams. I love comparing the teams against each other. I love seeing who is doing the best in different metrics, who could use a little bit of work. It's really, really helpful. We are early on in the summer. This summer is not a sprint. It is a marathon. If you're not where your numbers need to be, if the team's not where the numbers need to be, we have time to change. Start today. Make a little bit of an adjustment. Adjust how you pitch. Start higher. Knock later. Like, do these little things, and the results will come. I think that's what I love most about our group. I think that's what I love most about pest control. It's not rocket science. There's no guesswork. If you do what we teach, you will get the results that everybody else is getting and that we've gotten for years. This is my 11th year with Aptive. I mean, a lot has changed. Like so much has changed. The frequency of when we treat, the customer approach, like a lot's changed. Our pay scales have changed. They've gone way up. We've added like emerging team leader bonuses and residual bonuses and all these things. A lot's changed, but when I boil it down, it's the same job. Like, I said nearly the same pitch 10 years ago that you guys are saying now. It works. You just got to put in the effort. And if you do that, you will 100% get the results. Okay, now I have a few pieces of advice. So first off, I want to tell a story. Usually I tell this story when I go out and travel around and visit the teams. A lot of you have heard it before. If you sold here, you've certainly heard it before. Even if you haven't sold it, you may have heard it. But it's because I love this story, and it's a funny story. But it's a funny story with a really, really good principle. So once upon a time, two men are in a bathroom together. And one of the guys is breaking bro code. And they're both at a urinal. And they're right next to each other. Okay, one is peeing. The other is peeing. Right next to each other. That totally shreds bro code. Somehow, guy number one, I don't know what he was doing, but he drops a $5 bill in the toilet as he's peeing. Guy number two sees this happen, and he goes, oh my gosh, that's terrible luck. What happened there? You just peed all over a $5 bill. Guy number one goes, crap. Guy number two goes, well, what are you going to do? Are you just going to leave it there, or what do you do? Guy number one then reaches into his wallet, and he pulls out a $50 bill. He throws that in the toilet, and he pees on the $50 bill as well. At this point, guy number two is just like irate, like mind blown, like, what are you doing? Give me the money. Don't pee on the money. Why would you do that? That's disgusting. That's terrible. The 5 was an accident. The 50 was clearly on purpose. What are you doing? Guy number one at this point reaches in, and he grabs both the 5 and the 50. He shakes them off, stuffs them back in his pocket. Hopefully he washes his hand before he leaves. But he tells guy number two, he says, look, my $5 was just $5. It wasn't enough to really get me bought in. I had to increase my buy-in. I knew when I peed all over the 50 that I would get the 5 back, but I probably wouldn't have done it for just the 5. And so it's a funny story, very anticlimactic. But the principle is increase your buy-in, okay? Up what you've got in. Up the stakes. Put some skin in the game. You've probably all heard that. Put some skin in the game, okay? The moral of the story, or the important lesson, is you have to increase your buy-in. So what do I mean by this? All of you have bought in, okay? You've driven across the country. You've bought an iPad. You're paying for cellular data. You quit a previous job, or you took a summer off from school. You avoided the opportunity to hang out with your mom all summer. You left a girlfriend at home. You left a wife with kids at home. Okay, you bought in. But if you only ever buy in $5, you don't get the full opportunity. You don't take advantage of everything the job has to offer. If that's all your commitment level ever is, you never reach the next level up. What do I mean by that? Okay, if you never obsess over the job, if you never fully commit, you miss out on a ton of benefit. So a little secondary story. My first summer, I've told this story 100 times. I came out, I sucked for like my first 2 weeks. And then I got pretty freaking good. And I caught up to who was the top rookie at the time, Cameron Olson. I remember a day where we both hit like 140 serviced accounts. Now, I had been more obsessed than Cameron in order to catch up to him. I was training more. I was working harder. I was doing more. Cameron was obsessed with winning. So when I caught him, it started a fire under him, and he started training way more than me. He started practicing his pitch again. He started knocking full Saturdays. He started knocking later at night. He started calling go-backs on his drives home. He started calling potential customers on the drive out to area. Like, he became obsessed. He increased his buy-in. And because of that, I ended up servicing over 300 accounts that summer. Cameron ended up servicing over 460 accounts. He made like twice as much money as me because of how the pay scale worked and how his production ended up getting him at those higher benchmarks on the pay scale. He crushed me, okay, because he bought in more than I did for longer than I did. So all of you have bought in. Like we talked, you've left a wife, baby, girlfriend, mom, friends at home. You've left a summer job back at home at the wake park ramp. You left a summer job doing whatever it is that you did before this. You missed out on an internship. You missed out on going to school. There's opportunity costs everywhere. I'm asking all of you to become more obsessed with the job now. Throw the $50 bill in, urinate all over it, and go bigger. Train extra in the morning. Train more at night. Read the training manual. Listen to this podcast. Listen to the NZ videos. Listen to old trainings. Record yourself and go through it at lunch. Knock longer on Saturdays. Get those extra DMs at night. Do what Tucson does. Get extra DMs. Okay, hunt them down, bump your CV up, pitch a little bit higher, knock when it rains, knock when it's hot, don't sit in the car, get out first after lunch, like increase your buy-in. Those of you who increase your buy-in will take more advantage of this job. They will reap the reward. They'll get their $5 back, they'll get their $50 back, and way more beyond that. This job's not complicated. Every week I talk to sales reps and they're like, oh, I've got this and this and this, and this is why I couldn't work hard and this and this. No. There's no excuses. Just work. Okay? If you're out there in area, no matter what is going on, knock the doors. My hardest summer, just being vulnerable with you guys, being completely honest, okay? My hardest summer was summer number 3. It was the summer I was engaged, okay? And there were a million things going on, a million variables. I'll tell more details sometime in smaller group settings. But that summer was freaking hard. Like, it was brutal. And I had so many auxiliary, like, family situations going on and girlfriend, fiance situations going on. It was really hard to focus on the job. And I lament to say that was my, like, worst performance summer. Like, I regret it every day. But I still got the freaking job done, and I still serviced 300 accounts. And I remember multiple times during that summer, like, sitting on a curb and crying because it was so hard. But I went out, and I still sold, like, 3 accounts, 4 accounts, 5 accounts. Or on my worst days, I still sold 1 account. I still knocked the doors. I never took days off because I believed in the opportunity. And I still believe in the opportunity. Like, I show up to the office every single day. I'm here every single afternoon because I believe in what we're doing. I'll visit every single one of the teams. I'll work as hard as I can this summer because I believe in what we're doing. And I hope that each of you feels that same way. I hope that each of you recognizes the magnitude of this opportunity. You have the potential to change your life. Okay? You have the potential to have everything that you want if you'll just work hard. I know some of you see the opportunity. John Martin, you guys heard his story at kickoff. John appreciates the opportunity. If there's one thing I can count on, it's John working, like probably too hard, because he recognizes the opportunity. I know that Tanner Clayton recognizes the opportunity. He's got a wife. He's got a baby. He's got family. He's pushing every single day. I know Easton recognizes the opportunity. When I was going to record this podcast, Easton was already at 4K today. It's insane. Easton's got a couple kids. He's got a wife. He's got a property they just bought. He's got big goals to buy something in Arizona. Like, this job is all that. But it doesn't just come. Okay? It's not free. You don't get the money. You don't get the success. You don't get the accolades. You don't get the glory story just because you drove across the country and you showed up. It doesn't just happen. It happens for those who buy in more. It happens for those who commit more, who do extra, who go above and beyond. That's why it's so important that we as a team, we as a group, agree to some standards. If our group goes bigger and then you go bigger than the group, imagine what's possible. Okay? It's only crazy until it's not. Be the person who's so crazy about this job that everyone else on the team is like, oh my gosh, Joey works freaking hard. That guy's nuts. Like, he works hard. Be that person. Because when Joey gets paid triple what everyone else gets paid, it won't be crazy. It'll be like, oh yeah, like, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done that doesn't count for anything. But there's always a guy who does it, or a girl who does it, who everybody else says, I wish I would have done that. Early on in this job, my first 2 or 3 years, there were so many people who I looked at and I'm like, man, I wish I would have done what Brigham did. I wish I would have done what Chandler did. I wish I would have done what Cameron did. I wish I would have done what Roberto did. Like, holy cow, they crushed it. And over time, I learned, like, I can be that person. It just takes more effort. And I vowed to always be that person, and I try really hard to do it. Obviously, I fall short sometimes. We all do. But my commitment is always to effort. And that's what I want from you guys, too. I have this written down as well. You get one shot, okay? September comes. You guys don't think it now. We're in April. September comes, and it comes fast. And then October comes. And when October comes, you're like, oh my gosh, I'd kill to go out and knock doors. I'd kill for the opportunity to make $1,000 a day. I'd love to be back out there. But you're back in school. You're back in real life. It's not prime time to sell. The days are shorter. It's cold, blah, 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 blah. There's always a way to do it. But now is the shot, okay? Everything that you've worked for, all the training that you've done, all the lead up now. It's not tomorrow. It's not next week. It's not in a month. It's not when I get to my summer market, when I get to Denver, when I get to Cincinnati. It's now. Okay? Now is the shot. You get one shot. This is our shot. I promise you guys, I'm going to give everything I have for this group this summer. I know all of our leaders will. I know Mark will. I know Ryan will. I know Andrew will. I know McKenna will. I know Danny will. I know Jeff will. I know Colby will. I know Connor will. I could name every single one of these guys. Aiden, Chase. I know these guys will give their all. Please join us. Okay? Please give a little bit more than you want. You've peed all over the $5 bill. Throw a 50 in. Throw a 100 in. Throw a $500 bill in. Write a check. Go take out all your money and put it all in. We're going big this year. I love this group. I love what we do. I'm hungry. Let's hit 1 million this week. Break records. Work harder. Let's get to 50 DMs. Let's take back our throne. Let's push. Love you guys.